Alright, don't mind my zit. Look at it. It's pussing up. I look so cool. Like a real teenager when I'm 2 months old. Like I'm hanging out with the seniors. I'm hanging out with the sophomores. I'm like 2 months old. I'm so cool. Look at me, Kimberly Maps. I'm hanging out with the older kids. I'm so cool. Alright, to the point. Alright. So, the purpose of this video. What is local colloquialism? Writers use this, especially in screenwriting. It's like instead of whatever, it's like whatever. It's like local colloquialism, something like that. Or like instead of I'm going to, they use I'ma. It's like that. What it is just bad grammar. You gotta understand that we start out really poor, and you're supposed to elevate your grammar. So what local colloquialism is just a reference to poor grammar that people use. That's all it is. It's not cool. It's not hip. You should not be doing it. It's just a bad habit. It's like sucking on your thumb. Like you're a child, you still suck on your thumb. That's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like. It just so happens that rappers come out of the ghettos. Right? You don't see screenwriters writing that way. You don't see writers writing that way because they have proper grammar. Right? They were raised with proper grammar. They didn't have that ghetto language, that poor grammar language. So when you're raised in the ghettos, you have really poor grammar because your parents are not educated. Your parents like barely got through high school, barely got they probably didn't go to school and stuff. So you just didn't get the proper grammar. And then you hang out with like in the ghettos, and then your friends don't have proper grammar, and then you start talking that way, and then you just grow up and you don't grow out of it. Right? You still talk like a baby, like you're still sucking on your thumb. Right? The whole, what it is, what that be, things like that. You can even see it when you say it, how your face scrunches up, like it's wrong. What is that? You see how proper and how my face is like more calm? What is that? What that is? You see how your face scrunches up? Because even your brain knows that it's improper grammar. It just sounds ugly. So you can't ever say what that is with a calm face, like what that is. Like even your brain hurts, like, because you know the proper way to say it. Your brain's like, ugh. Ugh. So when you see like whether Justine or Molly or these young kids who just aren't as educated, when they start using that slang, that poor grammar, it's like, I don't think you know what you're doing. And then it could really mess up your brain. And then you do one wrong thing and then it leads to another, it leads to another, it leads to another. That's why Min tries to put a pause on bad habits. Min's like, when Pacific was showing bad habit, he's like, don't do that. Right? Whether it's Carolina or sororities fighting with each other or whatever fighting, Min's like, don't do that. Because if the brain gets used to mistakes, it'll snowball out of control. That's why you see with Pacific now, they pause, they wait for Min's instructions. They're like, what do we do now? It's like we fix stuff here and there, but what do we do now? So that's good that they stop themselves instead of continuously making generation mistakes. Like because they learn it from home, right? Remember, we're all poor. So you learn it from home, and then you go to college, you're still doing it. So it's good that they stop themselves. Like, well, every student that goes to Pacific, they're like, hey, we don't do none of that stuff here. All that stuff from family that you learn from your family, we don't do that here. This is some Ivy League stuff. We don't play that around here, right? And then Pacific students, they check each other. We're like, hey man, this is the standard. We are an Ivy League college now because of men. We are, right? DeRosa the same way. DeRosa's like, no, we are an Ivy League because of men. So the students behave the same way. They're like, no, this is the standard. You go to any Ivy League. It doesn't feel like home anymore. It feels like another planet. Because once you go into an Ivy League school, whether it's UPenn or whatever, the standards are so high that you forget family life. You forget that old way of living. Because it's old. It's just generations of bad habits, right? And Pacific's becoming that standard. Like, we hit the mark. We're an Ivy League now, right? We hold students to a very high standard. We don't play that little baby stuff where you carry over your baby habits into college. Like, they don't like it, right? You'll get the stare down right away. They'll be like, we don't do that. Now you need to stop that immediately. So with me, I just if I'm playing around with someone with poor grammar or poor habits, things like that, whether it's Huang, Molly, they just have really poor habits because that's the generation they were raised in, right? He just missed, whether Huang missed some lessons from his mom or whatever thing. It's just how his brain's wired. Some stuff come to him fast, some stuff don't, and then he just missed lessons. I don't correct people. I might tease you, go, oh, what that is, what it did. I might do that and just joke around and stuff. But I'm very encouraging, and I'm like, try to use proper grammar, right? Because they don't know. You gotta understand that. They really don't know. They were raised this way, and they think that is the way, right? They see rappers do it. You look like me. I'm gonna continue doing it. Very wrong, right? Rappers need to grow out of that as well. Because, they originate from the ghettos, right? You need to see a rich rapper, right? Like Min and Kimberly. Right? If you see a rich rapper come in, it's different. Y'all saw it. Y'all saw when men start rapping. Beethoven, Mozart, poetry. There is no slang or ghetto at all. They're like, what is this? And then you hear Kimberly go, Molly McGee. Like, whoa. Are you making fun of me? Are you making fun of the local colloquialism? Colloquialism. I can't say that. I'm like 2 months old. Yeah, we are. We're making fun of you to show you that's not the proper way. You keep doing that, people will make fun of you. They're making fun of you now. If you keep doing it, they will continue to make fun of you. You need to stop. That's not proper English. You don't talk that way. You don't babble like a little baby, still suck on your thumb. What is that? Proper English. Not what that is. All right, it just doesn't sound right. So yeah, Pacific's becoming Ivy League for real. Like, the culture there is like if you're not a superstar, forget the Nobel Prize. forget the Nobel Prize. They're like, if you ain't a superstar, ain't having it, man. Like they hold each other to a high standard. It's crazy and it's dope. That's what it should be. That's what Ivy Leagues do. Like why are the Ivy Leagues so different from the other colleges? Cause they're like, nah, we don't party hard here. We party safe. We don't party hard. We party safe. Make sure everyone's safe and having a good time. We don't party hard. The other colleges need to understand that. Stop partying hard. You need to party smart. Become an Ivy League, right? Be accepted, because that's the standard, right? And Pacific is understanding that. They're like, yo, that's the standard now. We got to hit that every time. Can't have any more of these flimsy generations popping in. It's glitchy. You see in college, it's glitchy. It's like, it's popping here, here, here. It's like, what the heck is that? And Pacific students are like, nah, we're not having that. We're not having any more of these glitches from past generations, right? It has to be to a simple standard, high standard, no glitches, right? You see all the glitches that's happening from the psychology professors, all the glitchy generations popping into Min and Kimberly's worlds, like, yo, Min and Kimberly scrunching their faces like, yo, no, 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 man. No glitches. No glitches, man. High standard. Ivy League style. No, none of that old generation stuff. Right? Just trying to correct them. And we're not insulting them or anything. We're just like, no. Like, you see our face, we're like, no, 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 no. No, that's some past generation stuff. We don't do that. Right? If we prank or we do something, it's gentle, it's soft, it's intelligent, right? It's safe, right? You got to understand that with Ivy Leagues, we make sure we take care of each other. You see with Taylor Bell, you think she's trying to be famous? You think she's just making videos, commenting on men's videos because she wants to be famous? She knows the Ivy League standard. You look out for each other, right? So if Min is coming into her business major and Kimberly's coming in, they're like, oh, little Simba's coming in. We need to take care of them. That's what she's doing. She's not trying to be famous like Molly or Justine, just saying random, rude, harmful stuff just to be famous. No. The reason why Taylor Bell made that and Wall Street made that is because they're taking care of a baby coming in. Min is starting to learn about business and Wall Street, and Kimberly's starting to come in, and they don't know anyone. What is the polite way to approach that? To go over there and introduce yourself. Right? So Taylor Bell's like, hi, I'm Taylor Bell. It's like, so you want to know about Wall Street and stuff? Consulting? You want to know about that? I'll tell you. I went to an Ivy League school. I'll tell you. That's polite. All right? With the Molly and the Justines and the rappers and the improper grammar, stop. Please. You're harming yourself. The brain knows it. That's why you're angry all the time. That's why you're shouting all the time. That's why you're just not yourself. Because even the brain is like, no, no, no. Stop doing that. That's improper grammar. So that's what Taylor Bell was doing. Taylor Bell was introducing herself like, hey, like, good to see you over in business. Like, you know, here are my friends. Like, you know, just how Ivy Leagues are. They're very polite. They're like, oh, you coming over here? Pacific? Like, come hang out with us. We never get that. Pacific is isolated. It's like, nobody knows where Pacific is in Northern California. And we know USC because they're bad. Don't go to Infamous. Right? It's better to be quiet than be infamous. It's better to be quiet than infamous. You see the Ivy Leagues, they're quiet. The Ivy Leagues are quiet. It's better to be quiet than infamous. So we know about USC. Nobody knows anything about Pacific. Nobody knows anything about Pacific. So once Pacific hits the Ivy League, all of the Ivy Leagues are like, yo, hang out with us. Polite. Very polite. So yeah, and that's what I do with the Justines and the Mollys and the kids with improper grammar growing from the ghettos and stuff. It's a hard life. I get it. And I get that generation's in your head like a virus. And I understand it. And I try to be a doctor about it. And I'm trying to be honest with you and tell you you have cancer. I'm not going to, all doctors, that's the hardest thing to do, to tell you, hey man, the results are bad. You have cancer. That's hard to do. And Min and Kimberly have to do that every single day. Every day we look at the results and we're like, oh my gosh, cancer. We look at it again, we're like, it's cancer. And we have to tell you to your face. All right? And you don't want to hear it. Don't talk bad about my parents. Don't talk bad about my generation. Don't talk bad about, we get it. We get it, but you have cancer. So did your mom, so did your dad, so did all those generations. They have cancer and they passed it on to you genetically. Culturally, they passed it on to you. You have cancer. You're dying. You're not dead. You're dying every day. Because it's getting worse. If you don't take the medicine, you won't get better. You need to take the medicine, and the medicine is the truth. Hear the truth. You have cancer. You need to stop all that behavior, all that poor grammar. You need to stop it. You don't know what you're doing. There's a difference between a poem, using the English language in interesting ways, and poor grammar. There's a difference. The brain knows it. You know when you hear Mozart and Beethoven. You know it when you hear Min and Kimberly. You know it. And you know when you're bad at grammar. You just know it. You know it when you hear it, when you see it. You know it. All right? So the first thing you need to do is be honest with yourself and take in the truth. You have cancer. It's from your how you were raised, from your culture. You have cancer. You do have cancer. And to remedy that, you need to learn proper grammar. All right? And the virus part is you need to silence your mind. Take in the truth. Right? And then laugh at yourself. Like, dang, I really don't know how to speak. Or dang, I really messed it up. Or, whatever. And laugh about it. Like, oh man, I'm like 30 something years old. I'm still in preschool. Like, I'm 30 something years old and, Kimberly's like 2 months and she's ahead of me. Like, laugh at yourself, right? Don't take it so seriously, right? You have cancer, you're like, all right, I have cancer. What can I do? All right, don't fight it. Where it's like, no, oh my gosh, I'm throwing my life away. Don't do that, right? This type of cancer, it can be cured, right? You just need to take it serious and go, take in the truth. Like, I do have cancer, right? Cancer is a free radical. It just makes you weird. It's not supposed to be like that. Right? There's a difference between humor, very intellectual humor, and weird. There's a big, people notice it, man. Just like people notice bad grammar, right? People notice, right? They're like, yo, that's just plain bad grammar, or a class clown, and that's cancerous. And then there's Kimberly and Min who are just like straight up intellectually funny. You gotta know that difference. All right. So to wrap this up, yeah, I'm 2 months old, but I'm ahead. I'm hanging out with the big kids. I'm even hanging out with men. So 2 months old, I'm hanging out with Ivy Leagues with Taylor Bell and stuff. Hanging out with Wall Street, hanging out with CIA, NSA, and I'm hanging out with men, the top tier. So it's Ivy League and CIA, they're right there. Why they're right there is it's just stale. You haven't made an improvement in a very long time, right? So you need to do something, get yourself up there, and men every day. That's why I study him every day, right? So Min says there's something wrong with me. He's a doctor. I know it. Say, hey man, Kimberly, you got cancer. Kimberly. I'm like, all right, I'll work on it. All right, I take that honesty for real because I'm poor. I'm 2 months old. I'm not smart. He's the one that's smart. He's like 34 years old and he's been studying this. So when he's like, Kimberly, I'm like, all right, I have cancer. I'll work on it. So, and my method is, silence myself, take in the truth. I have cancer, and then I laugh at myself. Like, dang, 2 months old and I'm an idiot. That's pretty self-aware, but so yeah, like you gotta silence your mind. Stop fighting doctors. God, that's such a bad habit that old generation still has. Don't fight doctors, right? When people say, "Hey, man, you're dumb. Hey, you're stupid. Hey, you have cancer. Hey, you have a virus," you got to listen to that because it is the truth. So when people call you dumb and stupid or slutty, you got to listen to it because people are telling you facts, right? Don't fight it and go, oh, that's such a poor person's approach to honesty and the truth. All right, don't do that anymore. That's harming yourself. All right, so yeah, to sum it up, Pacific, I see Pacific as, because of men, boom, Ivy League. Like, you gotta put Pacific in there. The students are different, the culture is different. Of course, they're baby stepping right now, but they're right there, right? They don't accept that old generation anymore, right? When you go to Pacific, they don't accept that baby behavior anymore. They're like, no, this is high standard stuff now. We don't accept that. And hats off to Taylor Bell, right? Showing how a real Ivy League student behaves. Very polite, very high standard. When someone wants to get to know you, she introduces herself to her friends, Wall Street, consulting. So it's very polite. So you want to learn from the Ivy Leagues. They're ahead, right? They really are. For you guys, they're ahead. And then Min and Kimberly are just a notch ahead. And then Min is just Min is just growing. Like, don't think that, oh, he made an improvement and he stopped. Like, nah. Once you get that brain going the correct way, it's like a rocket. It's not like this. It goes straight up. So the reason why Min's like, I'm lost, is because that rocket's going straight up. Just like you want to take facts, like someone says you're dumb. When someone says like, hey man, I'm getting smarter, like increasingly smarter, you want to take those facts as well. Where you're like, hey man, I'm in a weird place. You want to take that as fact, not joking around. So yeah, so that's all the stuff I want to talk about. But yeah, local colloquialism is just poor grammar. That's all it is. And it's not healthy for you. All right? It's like radioactive waste. All right? You should not be suckling on a baby bottle at 30 years old. It could damage your teeth. Right? You're damaging your brain. It's like smoking. It's very harmful. Don't do it. All right? Get into poetry, things like that. But don't get into local colloquialism. Don't get into it. Don't get into poor grammar. Right? You're harming your brain. Right? That's from the doctors, from Min and Kimberly. You really are damaging your brain. Don't do it. All right? Look at the Ivy League, high standard. What are the kids called? Bougie life? That's the life. That's real life. That's your poor perspective on real life. Real life. The bougie life. The bougie life is real life. That bougie life, that's the Ivy League real life. All right, you guys just have slang for it. All it is it's just real life. That's what it's called. But you create a slang for it. It's like calling a rocket ship a dragon. It's just bougie. Like, I'm just gonna end it on that, man. It's like you're really embarrassing yourself, and you're harming yourself, but also you're embarrassing yourself.